the third and final one that I'm going to grade on screen for this week. And I'm not going to do this every single week, but I'm mostly just doing it this week so you guys can see how I grade and what my thought process is. I will do like one or two next week just because it's a different kind of assignment. But alright, so let's just jump into this. Okay, let's see. Actively listening to others, being transparent with information. Oh, real quick, let me turn that on there. Come on. Oh, geez. Okay. Being transparent with information, use technological tools productively, produce honest, constructive feedback. Okay, so as I mentioned in the first video, here's the deal. When you have a list, it has to be in parallel format. That means each item has to be in the same grammatical format. If you start with a verb in an ing, listening, being, use, produce, no. So these are things that the person does. That, I use, I produce, right? But this is different, right? Listening, being, ends in ing. So this could be, using technological tools, producing, or it could be actively listen to others, be transparent with information, something like that. So just make sure each item in the list is in parallel format. Okay. I believe that by actively listening to what others have to say plays a major role when it comes to problem solving. I try to ensure that I understand what the actual problem is and what methods we are using to try to solve it. By being transparent, I allow everyone that I'm working with to hold any and all information. By being transparent, I allow everyone that I'm working with to have any and all. That's a little, I would just say pick one or the other. It's either any or all. I would just say, let's just say all. To have all information to be able to help with solving the problem. I allow everyone that I am working with to have all information to be able to help with solving the problem. This part's a little wordy. See, I kind of like stumble over. To have all information to be able to help with solving. To have all information. I'm going to say from here on. So I'm just going to put a note here. This is a little wordy. Write this more concisely. Okay. I don't like holding back information, and I tend to expect to have access to critical information that I need to help with my portion of the problem-solving process as well. Okay, that's this, and it's underlining it, and it's correct. And not all the time is the grammar check correct, but in this instance it is. I always look to make sure, but sometimes it's not, so be careful. But what process? The problem solving. So that's those two words are being joined together to create one word, so it needs to be hyphenated. Alright, so I don't like holding back information, and I tend to expect to have access to critical information that I need, that I need to help with my portion of the problem solving process as well. As well as, since this is kind of a longer sentence, as well, I got to a point where I was like, as well as what? I kind of forgot at that point. So let's just delete it because you said and. So it's as well as like in addition to, and is already in addition to. So I do my best to use technological tools productively. With the age of technology, knowing how to use these tools effectively can help me with critical problem solving. Okay, so that's not hyphenated because what kind of solving problem? It's not coming together, create one word. And may even speed up the problem solving process. I like to give honest, constructive feedback. So here's the question. Do we put a comma here, like honest and constructive feedback? Or is it's honest, constructive feedback? I would say it's honest and constructive feedback, so we're going to put a comma there. I believe that by doing so will help solve problems more effectively than by not being honest. Or you could say by being dishonest. Let's do that. By being dishonest. Okay, so actively listening. Okay, let's look at this again. Sorry I have to go through so many times. Alright. I believe that by actively listening, okay, to what others have to say, that, okay, so here's the thing. I believe that actively listening to what others have to say plays. So you say that by actively listening, then that doesn't work, the plays part, because that's the verb. Okay, I believe that actively listening to what others have to say plays a major role when it comes to problem solving. I try to ensure that I understand what the actual problem is and what the actual problem is, what methods we're trying to use to solve it. So that's the active listening part. By being transparent, so I would say you need a transition here. Because here's the deal, you go from active listening and you jump by being transparent. It's like, whoa, who said anything about being transparent? So we need to smoothly transition. You know, in addition to actively listening, I am transparent. So, or I am transparent and allow everyone that I'm working with, something like that. But it needs to be some kind of connection from one to another, because otherwise it just feels like it just jumps right in. So by being transparent, I allow everyone that I'm working with to have all information to be able to help with solving the problem. So it could be like have the necessary information needed to solve the problem. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, just just an idea right there. I don't like holding back information, so that transitions well, because we're talking about like having all information, and I tend to expect to have access to quick information I need to help the person. Oh, I guess the brain process, blah, blah. Okay, that goes up there. I do my best to use technological tools productively. With the age of technology, knowing how to use these tools effectively can help me with critical, okay? And even speed up the process. I like to give honest, constructive feedback, but doing so will help solve problems more effectively than by being dishonest. Okay, cool. Use clear and precise communication, maintain positive outlook, practice empathy, avoid destructive feedback. Cool. It's so interesting what you all come up with. I try to do my best when it comes to using clear and precise communication with my coworkers. By being clear and precise, the person who receives my information will have a better... Okay, so when you say like by being clear and precise, the person, when it's like the person being clear and concise is you, right? So by being clear and concise, you know, I give the person, I don't know, you'd have to like reword this a lot, but by being clear and concise, I do what? Because who's being clear and concise? I am. So by being clear and concise, I provide the recipient of information a better understanding, something like that. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, but you could come up with something better. But the whole point is, it needs to start with I, because I'm the one that's being clear and concise. Okay, receiving information will have a better understanding of what I'm trying to convey to them. One of the best qualities is that I try to look my best qualities is I try to look on the bright side of things even when everything is falling apart around me. As a leader, I'm a firm believer that by maintaining a positive outlook in times of chaos, your personnel will in turn not overreact and will stay level-headed. Okay, let me just back up. One of my best qualities is that I try to look on the bright side of things even when everything's falling apart around me. As a leader, I'm a firm believer that by maintaining a positive outlook in time, that your personnel will comma around words or phrases that interrupt, in turn, interrupt, so we have comma before and after it, will, because you could take it out and it still makes sense. So your personnel will not overreact and will stay level-headed. So I tend to be empathetic when it comes to communicating with people. I try to make the person see how the outcome of what I'm trying to communicate affects them in the long run. So we went from staying level-headed, and then I tend to be empathetic when it comes to communicating with people. Come up with like just a little transition there, just a little transition. Add a small transition from being positive to being empathetic. And I say little on empathetic Okay, so I say add a small transition because it could be like, additionally, I tend to be empathetic, or in addition to being positive, I'm also tend to be empathetic. So I tend to be empathic. I think you mean empathetic though, right? Isn't that what you meant? Okay, so this is where I'd have to like do some research. Oh, publish, waiting for that video to go. Empathic. Showing ability to share. Oh. Alright, so empathetic is an adjective that describes someone or something that exhibits empathy. Empathic are interchangeable. Okay, cool. So, perfect. Empathic is good. Alright, I tend to be empathic when it comes to communicating with people. I try to make the person see how the outcome of what I'm trying to communicate affects them in the long run. I try to make the person see how the outcome of what I'm trying to communicate affects them in the long run. And I try to make the person see how the outcome of what I'm trying to communicate affects them in the long run. Earlier in my career, comma, after an introductory expression. Oh, geez. Okay. I learned to avoid destructive feedback. I have seen firsthand how this type of feedback destroys the way that communication is supposed to provide. Okay, I know what it's going to say. Yep. Just going to do that. Okay. To provide a positive message and help improve the person. Okay. So, we're talking about being empathetic or empathic, right? And then earlier in my career, so then we just jump in this. So let's have, I'm not going to put like another comment, but just like some kind of transition. Early in my career, I learned to avoid destructive feedback. I have seen firsthand how this type of feedback destroys the way that communication is supposed to provide a positive feedback and how destroys the way that communication is supposed to provide a positive message and help improve the person. So, okay. I think there's a better way to say that. How this type of feedback destroys the way the communication is supposed to provide. Like this whole part right here is a little wordy. Maybe it destroys the ability to communicate a positive message and improve something like that. But this is a little, just a tiny bit wordy. I think it can be written more directly. So I'm just going to put a little note here. Consider revising to make this more concise. Okay, practice compromising. Ensure employee engagement. Upholding. So we did that same thing. So we have practice, ensure, upholding. So we're just going to go with the first two. Just make it easy. Uphold workplace standards and understand social customs. All right, last one. No, not last one. Oh my gosh. I know that when working as a team, compromising comes in handy. I know that when working with as a team, compromising comes in handy. That's an understatement, right? When my team is having issues in performing a task due to differences in opinions, I encourage the use of compromise to enable forward progress. If I am the team lead, I like to ensure that my employees are fully engaged in accomplishing said task. Okay. I don't know about said task. The task. Something. Even if everything is going flawlessly, I ask them to keep an eye out for any bumps in the road. Okay. That could possibly occur. Let's avoid cliche phrases like, so keep an eye out for bumps in the road. So ask them to watch for any issues that might occur. Something like that. So I'm going to put on just here, avoid cliche phrases. Okay. When it comes to business etiquette, I believe that upholding workplace standards fuels a successful organization. After serving in the Air Force for 21 years, upholding the standards comes naturally to me. I believe that by understanding social customs, it helps to improve my intellectual communication skills. While stationed overseas, I have learned that by understanding how another culture works, I could interact and effectively accomplish any task given with my foreign and national teammates. Cool. Okay, so one thing real quick. I know that when working as a team, compromising, so that's like the act of compromise, right? So the act of compromise, or maybe we said it would be better if we said, I know that when working as a team, compromise comes in handy, or being able to compromise. Compromising would be the act. So anyway, my team is having issues in performing a task due to differences in opinions. I encourage use of compromise to enable progress. Good, we knocked off that one. If I'm the team lead, I like to ensure that employees are fully engaged in accomplishing said task. So engaging, even for everything's going flawlessly, I ask them to keep an eye. Okay, so we talked about that. When it comes to business etiquette, so workplace standards, I believe that upholding workplace standards fuels after serving the Air Force. Okay, come naturally to me. I believe that by understanding social customs, so a little bit of a jump, without a transition from standards come naturally to me. And upholding the standards comes naturally to me, and then all of a sudden it's I believe that by understanding social customs, it helps to improve. So anyway, a little bit of a transition would be helpful there. Okay, by understanding how another culture works, I could interact and effectively accomplish any task. How about I can? Because that's something like you have the capability of. Okay. Perfecting communication skills, respect, maintain practices. Ooh, got like 3 different kinds here. So let's do perfect. Perfect communication skills, respect privacy information security, maintain personal appearance, practice empathic listening. Cool. All right, real quick before I even read that. Guys, italicize. Sentence case. I talk about this in one of my videos about sentence case and title case. I talk about how to do this book correctly. And don't forget, highlight it when you're done. Go to that. On a PC, you just like hover over it. It'll say hanging indent instead. Whoops, I didn't go far enough. And then you just move it over 1/2 inch. On a Mac, it just says left. It never says hanging for whatever reason. I am constantly working. Here, let's get these so we can see these up here. Oh, we're going to cut it off. Okay. I'm constantly working on perfecting my communication skills. That's the first one. I know that effective communication starts with me and is important to my career. I believe that communication can make or break an organization, comma, like whenever you have a conjunction that joins 2 complete sentences, whenever you have a conjunction that joins 2 complete sentences, you need a comma with it. Okay. And I want to be able to communicate on a professional level. Next part's what? Respected privacy. Okay. The military has taught me to communicate ethically and legally by respecting private information and ensuring information security. I understand the importance of securing information and keeping it out of the wrong hands. I believe that maintaining personal appearance plays a, so see how it kind of jumps around a little bit? We need more transitions here because I'm just like, oh, we're talking about this. Oh, no, we're talking about this. Oh, now this. So just little slight. I also like words like also, additionally. I mean, even those are just like tiny little things you can do. In addition to this, I can do that. Whatever, something small like that just to transition. I believe that maintaining personal appearance plays a huge role in nonverbal communication. I do my best to maintain a professional image at my work center so that when I'm communicating with someone, comma, semicolons join 2 complete sentences. This first part, oh lordy, This first part is not a complete sentence. So, can't have a semicolon there. Their first impression of me is a good one. And also, it's like that when I am communicating with someone, comma, oh gosh, someone has a baby and then I end up with 20 million. Look at that, 15 people. Do we really have to be on a group text? Okay. Their first impression of me is a good one. I like to practice empathic listening. Not all tasks passed down from leadership are viewed as a good idea. While it is my job to pass on the task to my personnel, comma, they may not always welcome them with open arms. I like to listen to them, let them vent, and express their opinions to me. After I am done listening, I try to help them come up with a way to better embrace the task at hand. Cool. All right, good job. That one outlined everything in the attributes, but we just need to work on transitioning. That way it all connects and it increases reading comprehension for your audience.